Angela Diffley, the co-founder of the Restaurant Technology Network. And today on Member Voices, we have Chris Libier, who is the Chief Strategy Officer of Revel Systems. Hi, Chris. How are you today?
Hey, Angela. How you doing?
Good. We thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit just about your role there. We're just going to dive into a little bit about what RTN, what you guys have done in RTN, what it means to you, how you've taken a leadership position in the community. So just tell us a little bit first about your role there at Revel.
Yeah, well, I'm our Chief Strategy and Chief Marketing Officer, so involved in a lot of different things, but in particular, sort of how to move the ball forward and make everything better for both us as a company and for our customers and the industry.
Right. And
Yep.
the industry, right? And that kind of leads into why you joined RTN. So tell us a little bit about what you were hoping to get out of the community and what your experience has been like so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very straightforward, and I'm super aligned. That's why I joined. But where the passion comes from this, I've been in the industry for several decades, in the technology side of this industry, and it has never been easy to deliver solutions to customers. And the problem is only getting more exaggerated. Technology is more and more a part of our society, and also what restaurants need to have, which means for them to operate their establishment, they've got to glue a lot of things together, or somebody has to glue a lot of technology together for them. And having to do all that, each time in a unique way is costly and painful. And we need easier ways as a technology, uh, sector in this industry to deliver solutions, from multiple vendors to the industry so that they can take care of their customers and be more successful. And I'm passionate about it because it's a problem that's long overdue to be solved. And, when RTN popped up and said, we're going to kind of, take the bull by the horn here and lead the charge, we were all in.
Yeah, yeah. And so how have you been all in? Tell me about the work groups or how you've taken a leadership position in the community itself.
Yeah, well, one of the nice things is, RTN, you would know more about this, but right, kind of had a model from some previous experience about how to do this. It's not always easy to become the middleman in this situation and make it work, but you've set up these work groups, sort of define, a roadmap and a sequence, and you're bringing everybody together. You're bringing the vendors together. You're bringing the customers together. You're putting those people around tables, and sometimes they're competitors, and sometimes it's customers who aren't working with a particular vendor, but they're sitting next to each other and saying, how should we do this particular function more efficiently going forward in the industry? And it's very powerful. And of course, the people that are in those forums have to be bought into the concept, and we don't have the whole industry in those forums, but we're never going to make any progress if at least part of the industry doesn't start to move towards this model. And the work groups are just a practical way of making that happen. And there's been good progress already in a fairly short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, we launched 2 years ago. And as you know, the Open API framework is about to be released to the industry on February the 22nd. And we've got some really big restaurants behind that initiative, including Inspire Brands, Yum, NCKE, just to speak on the webinar. That's just the tip of the iceberg, really. But you guys have been really involved in the API and have spoken up really publicly about your support for that Open API framework. And that's, I guess, the foundational element, right, from which everything else needs to stem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you get, and that's part of like sort of putting the sequence in place, right? We can't figure out what the data format is of every interface before we figure out sort of what the rules of engagement are. And this is kind of a foundational piece, for more sophisticated things to happen behind it. But if we're going to have open systems that interconnect, there's got to be a lot of transparency, and there's got to be sort of a common working model, and this will provide that. And we're thrilled to say we've watched the development of that and tried to make sure everything we're doing is fully aligned with that plan.
That's a fantastic endorsement, because I mean, I think that's what the restaurants are looking for. They're looking for the suppliers to really step up to the plate and say, we'll take this on. I mean, you might not have it on your roadmap already. You might not have a open sandbox approach or some way to do certain things that are on those 8 key principles that we're going to be announcing, but maybe they're on your radar, maybe they can be right on your roadmap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
however you can adhere to it, I think that's what the restaurants are looking for the suppliers to step up and do. And it's great to hear that you, as a big force in the industry, has already embraced it. And so, as we go along, we have things like the menu synchronization standard. We're working on customer data record standardization and transactional data standardization. So those things will tie in, right? And
Right.
you guys, I assume, will just adopt each thing that is released as
Right.
you.
Exactly right. Yep. Exactly
And what
right.
would you say to sort of some suppliers, like, you said before, we don't have everybody in, right? Certainly we don't have everybody in RTN. And I think that we're stronger the more talent we have, right, in the community. So what would you say to suppliers who are on the fence or who don't really know if they should become a part of this?
Yeah, I just, I guess what I'd say to them is I can understand some of the short-term economic decisions why somebody might, choose to make, have a solution that does not play in this new, easier to put together ecosystem. But I just don't think there's any doubt that the future of technology is that there is going to be more and more important technologies to our customers over time. And no one of us, no vendor can be all things, can cover all these areas for our customers. And therefore they're going to have to integrate to new technologies. And we all know what's happens with technology. It speeds up over time. So as
Yeah,
fast as it's coming at us now in 5, 10, 15 years, it's going to be coming faster. The only way for that to work is for us to have ways to plug new technologies together. And it's transparent to me that if you don't work your way towards that model, if you're not there today, if you've got some technology limitations, et cetera, that's okay. But you can work towards this model because it really is the healthiest thing for your business and for your customers, because you can't be all things to all people and you can't build all the tech that they're going to need. So
right. And it's smart to be able to plug and play with those folks that offer things that you don't.
yep.
And so tell us what Revel's doing. Like, let's talk a little bit about, as we close here, just the tip of the iceberg of what you guys have done to maybe help the industry out, besides, leading in the work groups and being so involved in RTN and, putting your flag in the ground as far as your tech talent is concerned and lending it to the cause, I should say. What else are you guys doing over there? Or what have you seen as of lately that's interesting?
Yeah, well, obviously COVID has sort of exaggerated some things, and in a way, we were kind of on that track already. We had coined a term in 2019 before COVID called the digital tsunami, and that referred to consumers really wanting to engage in many different ways, the non-traditional ways with restaurants. Well, COVID just shot that rocket through the roof. So a lot of our energy and R&D right now is going into, really I'd call it just the new modern consumer experience. And, we obviously have all the basics and curbside and all that kind of contactless payments, all
Yeah,
that kind of but I think we're still just tip of the iceberg. We have got to continue to figure out how to meet the consumer's ever-changing needs, but also make it easier for the restaurants to do that. Restaurants need to be able to pivot and change. And we've got 100-site restaurant chains that never did drive-through that suddenly now wants to do drive-through or wants to, do different types of things, or wants 10 of their sites to do this and the other, 50 other sites to do that. You've got to have easier to use technology that's flexible for consumers. And, we like how our technology is set up to do that in the first place, but we are still spending a lot of time on this consumer experience side of things, because I think that's what it's all about. That, we historically would have been called a point of sale system.
yeah,
Hardly anything's ever going to get sold anymore at the point of sale. It's getting sold everywhere else.
yeah.
So we've got to make that experience great for both the actual end consumer and for our customers, So that's where our energy's going.
Fantastically said. I mean, when you talk about R&D, for the restaurant operators out there that are watching this video right now, we like to say that, use RTN for your R&D. If you have a challenge that you're trying to tackle, that's what this community is for. That's why Chris and his team, and all of the suppliers in our community are on board. They're really lending their tech talent to solving your challenges together, and that's a cool thing, right? To bring everybody together to help the restaurants, especially right now when they need it the most. So the
Absolutely.
digital tsunami, as you said, has definitely arrived, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are on top of it and sort of moving as quickly as we can towards something of a common ground so that we can even be more innovative faster in the future.
Exactly.
So thank you for me today, Chris. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for all of your leadership inside of the RTN community.
Thank you. Thank you for making this happen. Let's keep it going.
Let's keep going. Take care, Chris. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.